You know, if you're searching for a yellow brick road, it might not be a bad place to start in Kansas. Alas, drivers in the Area Cup Series hope that road leads them to victory lane, and they also hope that it won't take a tornado to find it. We all know about the vortex theory, though, so our tornado might have to be man-made. Welcome to the cornfields of Kansas for round 2 of the Area Cup Series playoffs. Hi, everybody. Kyle Heyer, joined by Hunter Sleppy and Finian Dacuna this afternoon for our round 2 of 5 and an elimination round in the title fight after last week's round. We're kicking things off in a big way out here in Kansas, Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say, can't wait to see these guys get out on the track, especially because heading into tonight, we're going to be sending 4 drivers home. It seems already too soon, but that's how it goes in the area playoffs here. We're already at an elimination race, 4 drivers going home. Only 8 will move on, and it's getting tight, especially around that borderline.
Yeah, we got a good bit of guys that are looking to get a good night's race in that hopefully propels them into the next round of the playoffs. Got Blake McKinney there, just 4 points below it. And you got Jeremy Miller, 6 points below. Lakatos and Civic Hunter, look like guys are going to have to win in order to advance into the next round. Then you got guys above the cutoff like Matthew Bell, only 4 to the good. Michael Curran, we were talking about how good of a regular season he had, and then just hasn't had it in the playoffs yet, only 7 to the good. Connor Horn, 9 to the good. Really the only guys comfortable enough, besides Jake Matheson being locked in, is Jake Nichols and maybe Seth Knoll. Nichols plus 37 should be mathematically locked in, Kyle.
Yeah, certainly the calculus is going to change as the race goes on. Jake Matheson up at the top, he locked in. He's going to be lit up in green tonight on the timing and scoring tower. Jake Nichols is almost good. He just needs to grab a couple points to lock himself into the fight. Seth Knowles also in good shape, so is Travis Beckner. But Scioli on back, including Connor Horn, Curran, and Bell, they've got some work to do. And then there's those 4 below that cut line, Finian, and they are going to have to get desperate at some point if they want a shot at a championship. And Cedric Hunter and Casey Lakatos essentially in must-win scenarios tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say they're pretty far back, and especially because we got a slightly lower car count than normal here, only about 28 drivers on the entry list. They're really going to either need to perform extremely well, hope everyone performs badly, or like you said, pretty much win to get in. And even like we said too, the guys just above the cutoff line, they're not safe yet. They need to make sure they get out there and perform here, and this is where the performance starts here, as qualifying is just getting started.
Good bit of guys missing tonight after the festivities going on at Daytona. So we appreciate everyone who's tuned in on this MTV YouTube channel and on the Area iRacing Twitch channel. It's been a crazy day of racing so far. Still have some racing left to go.
Yeah, it has been a wild day of racing. If you're watching the Daytona 500, things got pretty spicy there at the end. But now it's time to get things spicy here in Kansas. As Ricky Springer gets tacked up to speed on the left-hand side of your screen, there is your colored-in driver numbers. Those with a white number background are not a part of the playoffs. Those with a red number background are in the playoffs below the cut line. Those in yellow or green are either in the playoffs and above the cut line or in the playoffs and completely advanced. There's only one driver in green. It's Jake Matheson in the 56. He's got nothing to worry about tonight as he goes out for his qualifying effort in a little while. Matthew Bell, one of those drivers that is in the playoffs, and there he is rocketing up into turn 3. Finian, high lane is the place to be, it seems, here at Kansas.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll see how it is going to be for qualifying. I think a lot of guys are going to prefer that high lane just because he can carry more speed. He can almost be flat out there. Though he gets into the wall, does he brake before the line? He does not.
It's already on his lap, too, I think. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably why he didn't bother, because he's got only 1 lap, so he's on his time lap, and it's over for him. He'll be starting from the back, looking at Michael Curran out there, and I cannot read that sign, so I'm going to need you to read that for me.
Well, I can help everybody out with this as well. Let's pull it up full screen. So happy to have NASCAR back, baby, and Fox's broadcast seemed better than last year, or past years, rather. And he goes right up to the top at a 31.325. NASCAR is back, something to watch on the weekends now, and yeah, I thought Fox's broadcast today was really good. I enjoy Kevin Harvick in the booth. He's obviously very green as far as his professional role up there, and hasn't quite completely clicked with Mike Joy and Clint Boyer, but I think he's going to be a great professional up there in the booth. After a couple weeks, he'll fit right in, and I always love Mike Joy, one of my favorite announcers of all time.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's going to be a sad day when Mike Joy does go away, because I'm just so used to always hearing his voice in the booth for the Fox broadcast, but he's definitely a classic to hear out there, as it is pretty much a classic for TRS here for SimTV, as you've just gone on, ticked over 6 years now on YouTube. I cannot believe it's been 6 years.
Man, I think I'm almost done. That's enough for me.
Early retirement.
Yeah, checkered flag for Connor Okrezek on his qualifying lap. He goes fourth quick here, Hunter, as Jacob Bell gets on track in the 77.
Yeah, so interesting note here about Kansas. We haven't been here for the Cup Series since Season 2, and I think that goes across all 3 area series. But last time we were here, Jake Nichols won. This race tends to go clean and green all the way to the end. Very early yellows, but towards the end of the race, it gets more towards fuel mileage. And don't expect the winner to come from anywhere inside the top 10, although we do have about 28 cars. Jake Nichols won from 14th in Season 2, and Season 1 was Ed Robertson in 15th.
Interesting stats for sure. So we'll see how things pan out tonight. Justin Sogak rockets off into turn 1 on his qualifying effort. Another driver that's got nothing to worry about as far as playoffs. He's just going for wins. The race distance tonight, by the way, 140 laps, 210 miles. And that will be kind of a medium-length race in Area Cup Series standards. Probably not as short as Bristol last week, but especially if it goes clean and green, it could be not all that long either. Here comes Sogak out of turn 4. Let's see what he's got here. Qualifying is in a pretty hot temperature at 116 degrees Fahrenheit on track. Sogak goes 6th. And I've seen this track race very well in the past. If you think back to those ORL races, it got pretty spicy here. 2, 3, 4 wide on restarts. It can get very frantic. We'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, definitely can get really, really frantic for these drivers depending on how aggressive they're willing to be here. And at the times they're starting to roll in here, just about the top 10 drivers qualified in. Notably very quiet on the racetrack, as only 10 or so drivers have put a time down. Still a lot of drivers remaining. Connor Horn, one of them, now on a flyer. Casey Licata's the only other driver out there getting warmed up for his lap.
You see Connor Horn working the steering wheel in the outside lane of... to see what he does in 3 and 4. This is a guy who does not need to have a bad night. He can't afford to have a bad night because he could be looking at the outside of the playoffs. And the next round of the playoffs is going to be some good tracks that we're going to as he comes to complete his lap. We got Iowa, Auto Club, and Chicagoland as the season finale as Horn goes to the top of the charts.
And not by a small margin either, 79 thousandths of a second, which might seem like a small number. I promise you it's not. That's actually a larger gap than the next 2 drivers combined. So that's a pretty decent lap. But I think the reason why so many people are waiting, Finian, that track temp, it's come down 3 degrees since the start and likely will come down more. Slaughter, big slide out of turn 4. He's got to grind that thing to a halt if he doesn't want this lap to count.
Yeah, get on the brakes. Flirting with it.
I think he just got close at the end just for fun.
I was going to say, I feel like it was more for dramatic effect. I feel like he could have slowed down a little bit more, but he will get that slowdown in time. He will not go over, so he can have another go around there. He goes back out on the racetrack.
He's got in his number 83 Toyota. Especially with only 1 lap, getting out of pit lane and up to speed on the back straightaway is pretty important. Saw him slip a bit on the apron. Should be able to get up to full velocity regardless here with this next-gen package. Right up to the outside wall to make that lap as long as possible. And he's going to be in the wall again.
Oh, man. Get him to slow down.
And try again.
To do it all over again. Third time's got to be the charm.
Cedric Hunter working up to speed now on the back straightaway. And Brad Slaughter is taking attempt number 3. Brute force your way to a pole, I suppose. Oh, Cedric Hunter's in the wall. He's going to have to, well, he's going to commit to it because it didn't slow down his exit.
Yeah, I guess you might as well. Yeah, if it's just a smidge, you might as well, especially if you don't feel like you can slow down. So he's committed. He will go. He'll get very close to the wall as everyone's running pretty high lines in 1 and 2 and in 3 and 4 for that matter.
Notice how the top 3 are drivers marked in yellow. They are not locked in, but they are in a good spot to lock themselves into the playoffs. So next round of it. Meanwhile, Cedric Hunter in the red. He's got to have a good run tonight, as does Licata. It's the only other driver in the playoffs that's put down a lap until Cedric Hunter.
Yeah, it's an all-right lap. Puts him 9th, but I think he'll get bumped down a ways. Brad Slaughter finally got the start of a lap together. We'll see if he can finish it off. He's going to go to the bottom in 3 and 4. See what he's got.
I was going to say the really big thing is just whether or not he can execute. Gets very close to that wall. Across the line he will go. Where does he stop?
Good lap. 2nd.
just shy of Connor Horns. I don't think he'll be too dissatisfied with that. Is Toyota Camry. And the only man who can really relax tonight is number 56, Jake Matheson. And you can bet that he's not going to give it up. He's still going to push, because if anything, that just means you can just do whatever you want. Nothing really matters.
Yeah,
you can't do whatever you want. Let me correct that. The admins will not like that. And you can mostly do whatever you want.
Matter to the top by 500ths of a second. And that is a very
huge.
Strong effort.
That's very huge. You get a bonus point for earning the pole.
Oh,
Theo
gosh.
Beckner.
Holy.
Doing his best Ross Chastain impression.
And that lap did not count.
I think that will also earn a trip to the Infield Care Center.
Holy cow. He hit that
Might
wall
have
a ton.
He did it.
I've never seen anything like that in my life.
That might have been why he just yeeted it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's going to hurt in the morning.
I love how the damage model, like when you hit something that hard, it just freaks out and doesn't know what parts to... Like, that crash would have looked way more realistic if he hit the wall half as hard, which doesn't make any sense to me. But here's Scioli in Simrat Market colors tonight, and right up against the high lane. I see a cloud coming over the speedway as well. Track temp is down 6 degrees from the start of the session, Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say, no chance of rain yet.
Yeah, give it a couple weeks, baby.
In a couple weeks, definitely 100% chance of no rain. And he's going to be working on the high side of the track. Still quite a few drivers not having times in. Not necessarily due to lack of trying. A couple of drivers crashing out again. I think that's due to how many drivers are running up against the wall.
Still waiting on, I think Jake Nichols is out on the track, waiting to the last second. Doug Newbigging as well.
Second place, last second. Jake Nichols P2 and Scioli 32-11. That will knock Nichols off the front row. Scioli goes to second, and he could use a little help, Finian. He has not had the most stellar season, but he has had a good enough one to stay in the playoffs until now. And
that's really
about a dozen cars didn't qualify. That's surprising.
Yeah, again, like half of that is due to drivers hitting the wall. Another half due to drivers just, I guess, electing to start from the back. Maybe they send something up ahead that we don't know quite yet, and they're going to be playing it safe near the back of the field.
Well, race distance again is 140 laps. It will kick off here in just a moment's time. Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise, all at the price of just $5 a month. And, of course, HelloFresh is our new starting grid sponsor for the Area Cup Series. Looking to eat healthier in 2024 without having to spend extra money? HelloFresh is here to help. Choose from over 40 calorie-smart and protein-smart meal options each week. Every meal arrives pre-portioned, giving you less time to prep and more time to enjoy your meal. HelloFresh also gives you free breakfast for life with an active subscription. What are you waiting for? You can click the link to get started with America's #1 meal kit today and use the coupon code to save 50% off your first box. You'll do that at twitch.tv/Area iRacing and punch in !HelloFresh to learn more. All right, guys, well, time to head down to the starting lineup here for our HelloFresh starting grid. Before we do that, though, let's pick our favorites from this one. Finian, I'll let you go first. You're leading the points, but I'll let you have the advantage.
I think I'm looking at the number 7. James Scully's been very quiet for most of the season. More so than he has been in the past. Does have a win to his name. I think you might see win number 2 come here tonight.
Hunter Sleppy, what you got?
Let's see. Who do I want to win? There's a lot of different... Excuse me, I need a drink. There's a lot of different names I could have picked, but I'm going to go with Jake Nichols in the 73. He'll get the job done.
And looking down, hold on, I was doing something else. Finian, who'd you pick? Who'd you guys pick?
I did pick James Scully.
All right, James Scully. Hunter, who'd you pick?
Jake Nichols.
Okay, sorry, I was not paying attention. I'm going to go with, let's look down the order here. I think that number 42 running in 4th place is the car to pick. He would be my choice. I like how he can rip the outside lane, and we'll go from there. Connor Horn wins this race.
Gentlemen, before we go to gridding, is Blaze McKinney missing, or is that just me?
Blaze McKinney.
Let me see. I don't see him on here.
He's not on here.
Well, that's going to be one driver out that we know.
Okay.
So three of the drivers, we know one's going to be out, so 3 drivers left to be eliminated. That's unfortunate, because I was actually kind of hoping to see what Blaze McKinney's got. He's looking pretty quick in the later part of this season.
All right, let's kick things off, guys, with the HelloFresh starting lineup, and it's Jake Matheson on the front row, James Scioli in second. Finian, your pick to win.
And moving on back to round number 2, it's going to be Jake Nichols in the 73 starting inside. That's Hunter's pick, and then Connor Horn, the 42, lined up in 4th.
Yeah, that was my pick. We'll see how that works out for me. I was closing in on you. We'll see if Connor can do me some justice tonight. Brad Slaughter Jr. starts 5th in the number 83. Michael Curhan 6th in the 24.
Moving on back to 7th, it's going to be Seth Nolan, the number 1 next to him. Tyler Nichols in the 41.
And it'll be 9th place. Connor Okrazik's number 14. Ed Scherer Jr. starts 10th in the number 17.
Moving on back to 11th, Ricky Springer in the 51 next to Josana Sogak in the 67 in 12th.
And in 13th place, it'll be Ed Robertson in the 64. Cedric Hunter trying to get himself out of the red and into the yellow in that number 13 car starting in 14th.
Moving back to 15th, it's going to be Garrett Grant in the number 5 next to Casey Lacadas in the 50 in 16th.
Greg Mitchell in the number 2 starts 17th. Jacob Bell 18th in the number 77.
We go back to 19th, it's going to be Matthew Bell in the number 9 next to Ryan Hart's in the number 3 and 20th.
21st place, Doug Newbeging in the 71. David Weishart rolls off 22nd in the 33.
Back in 23rd, it's going to be Travis Beckner in the 28. Next to Bryce Senezek in the 09 in 24th.
25th place, Jeremy Miller in the number 30. Ben Pierce starts 26th in the 65.
Going on back to 27, it's going to be Ray Slate in the number 8. And next to him, Ryan Agerfield, the 28. Dom DeLeo in the 22 car.
All right, that is your HelloFresh starting lineup here as the field rolls through turns 3 and 4. Distance is 140 laps. As we mentioned, if it goes green from flag to flag, it is 1 hour and 13 minutes of racing. The Area Cup Series playoffs are well in and underway. This is round 2 of 5, the first of our elimination races. Here we go from Kansas. Green flag. Whoa, big slide out of turn 2. The 7's in the wall. Everybody scatters. The 24 drops to the inside. Connor Horn had to lift. I think the 7 just pushed up into the outside wall and everybody had to run.
He actually got loose coming off the eggs because he's pushing really hard over rotating the rear end and had overcorrected a little bit into the wall. But he stated these things take a bit of a hit. Not too much of a hit, but just a slight tap. And he will continue on in 5th as they race off into turn 1. Going to be Nichols, who's go up high. Matheson is going to try to go down low. He wants to fight it for the lead.
Jake and Jake show off turn 2 for the lead. They're almost 3 wide, looking towards it, running in the back. You got Greg Mitchell there on the bottom trying to hold in. Meanwhile, Doug Newbeging and Cedric Hunter, a playoff driver that's on the verge of elimination. They're on the outside trying to work his way through 3 and 4. Nichols going to lead this lap. Matheson down to 2nd.
Connor Horn drops to the inside to get by Scioli here. That 24, Curhan's coming up pretty quickly.
Oh.
Looking good as we go off into turn 1.
Yeah, Noel just slammed the wall there going into turn 1.
Side by side out of turn 2. That's going to get very tight with Newbeging in the middle. 28 of Beckner on the outside, and then Greg Mitchell on the bottom.
Yeah, that's fighting hard, and this is all the way back just inside the top 20. And Mitchell will go on by the 71. Newbeging going to come back on the exit to continue on, all racing in a big pack, pretty much like Red Daytona.
That feeling doesn't go away. That super speedway style of racing as they roll through 1 and 2. Noel now takes 2nd away from Matheson. He's trying to take it back on the bottom. Curran up in the 4th spot, closing in on the bumper of Noel and going to give him a little tug down the straightaway.
Man, this is wild. This is the Kansas I know and love. It has been a couple of years, I think, since we've had a race here, Finney, and correct me if I'm wrong, because Area hasn't done it since before we broadcasted here. It must have been an ORL race before that, but I just love this racetrack. I used to hate this place. I thought it was boring, and I thought there was chalk that was more interesting, but this place really does race well. I really enjoy it. I'm not sure if the drivers like it as much as I do, but it is a good time.
I was going to say, I think they've really nailed the package here with this next-gen car. It really races well around this track now. It's a good mixture of some pack racing, but also you're still able to make some moves. You're not constantly stuck in dirty air, too. You can't move anywhere. As we look at Travis Beckner, he's probably feeling like he's stuck back there in the field. He's moved up 9 spots to 13th, actually now 14th, as Cedric Hunter works just past him in the number 13 car around the outside. He's still going to be working the bottom. A couple cars noticing migrating up to that middle and top lane.
I was just about to say, top is probably going to be third lane throughout as we go on in the race. The bottom lane is perfect for sending the car down in the corner and getting someone, but you carry so much speed on the outside on corner exit, almost makes around the bottom impossible to do.
Skyler's gone backwards just a touch since the drop of the green flag. There's Edward Scherer Jr. about to be middle 3 wide. Thought better of it. Almost in contact there with Connor Okresic off into turn 1 as Tyler Nichols looks on from the outside lane. Garrett Grant's back here as well in butt kicker colors this week, and they're going to filter in, into the high side.
Going to try to look to that outside, make a move, see where it works. I think that top lane definitely the place to be. Cedric Hunter lined up in behind, trying to see if he can follow on through. Got a decent run off the corner.
And Nichols on the outside. Tyler Nichols, that is, trying to crack the top 10 and stay in it for good in a 3 wide situation with Okresic in the middle. Then on the bottom, it's the 17 of Scherer Jr. as there's the 41. I mean, there's just that's how good outside lane is. Clears both of them, and now here comes Cedric Hunter trying to get in that train and give a little bump to Okresic in the 3.
That was a big bump to the number 14. The 9's going to be up almost in the wall as Greg Mitchell turns down underneath them. Garrett Grant looks to the middle. This is great mid-pack racing here. Jake Nichols leads by 3/10 and is slowly growing that. Again, defending winner of this race back from season 2 a long time ago, but wasting no time trying to repeat what he did then.
He's working around the top side, still 3 wide, and you see Dom DeLeo in the middle, back out, and Beckner almost getting into the back of the 22. He wants another spot. Beckner is not stopping this climb forward. He wants to get up inside that top 10, make up some points, make up that track position, and he's doing a pretty good job. But we always see this. We see a lot of guys push maybe a little bit too hard early on. They're going to pay the price later in the run.
The 9 got put in the fence there. Did we document that Dom DeLeo's 3 laps down along with Ben Pierce? And there's 2 others that started the race that are missing.
Whoa!
Oh, yeah. Not sure why that is. Yeah, they are 3 laps down. That's interesting to know. Ben Pierce actually off the track, so left at 25. With the 2 drivers that were missing are Ray Slade and Brad Slaughter. Actually, what happened to Brad Slaughter?
Yeah, I don't know where he went. Just kind of dropped off the face of the earth there. But, I was going to say with, 25 cars, the field isn't enormous. They're all packed in on top of each other, but it is certainly going to bring the aggression level up when you can't spiral down to 40th place.
Yeah, it's weird because Brad's actually in the server. He's just sitting watching the race at the moment.
Yeah, that would be the the Xfinity race that's going on during this one. I think a couple of guys are doing that, but almost a moment there. Wow, that was Cedric Hunter in the 13. He had a moment, and Mitchell in the bell, and that almost can't speak. Almost created calamity. Words are tough sometimes, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, I understood what you were going. It was, the 3's in the wall. Bounces off the 30. It's getting physical back here. There's your updated points as they run on the right-hand side of the screen. Jake Nichols, as it stands, is atop the order and would lock himself into the next round, although he doesn't need to win to do that tonight. Seth Knoll, Connor Horn doing very well to start as this mid-pack fight is fierce.
Yeah, and you can see a lot of the way the guys they're separated. A lot of guys currently in there doing really well, so that gap to the border has widened quite a bit with 11 points, the gap between Matthew Bell and Jeremy Miller. Of course, it's still very early days in this race, and actually I think Matthew Bell just got past with Jeremy Miller, so I got to go and update the sheet to what it's reflecting, but it's going to get close potentially as things flip-flop, especially if we get a long green flag run.
They're still 3 wide up there around Tyler Nichols for that top 10 spot. He's been holding his own on that outside line, trying to get a run on the outside of Ed Robertson as
Armin down there on the back straightaway. What was all that about?
On the lawn? The non-existent one?
He went to check and see if they had grass. He was disappointed.
Yeah, he will remain in 5th place, although we look further back at Robertson duking it out with Tyler Nichols just inside the top 10. Tyler Nichols, this is a really good run for him. Haven't seen, typically see him hovering around in between 10th and 20th, but now just breaking inside the top 10. It looks like he's got a decent car. One guy that doesn't look particularly fast, Jake Matheson. He's dropped back to 7th in his opening run. I'm kind of surprised by this.
Yeah, not sure if it's just tire preservation or if it's just him struggling to find grip in the race car. One driver who's not struggling is Michael Curran. He's up to 2nd after starting in the 5th spot, just a few car lengths behind race leader Jake Nichols, and then for 3rd, it's still Seth Knoll for now in front of Ricky Springer as he closes in on that battle.
Yeah, Ricky Springer is having a pretty good night, 10th to 4th in the early going here. Luck has not been on his side. Think back, was it season 3 where he won late in the season and then just went on a rash of winning races, ended up in the final 4, but it has not been that kind of season for Ricky this year as they chase Seth Knoll for 3rd place.
Continue to chase him, trying to see if he can make a move. If anything, this might play it easy here as they're kind of settling into a rhythm here. Is Ryan Hart's back here fighting with Justin Asogek and Jeremy Miller. He's been starting to make some forward progress, the number 3. He's been kind of slacking a little bit. We saw that big gap in the point, and now looks like he's starting to make a slow, steady climb forward. I think waiting for his moment to strike. How about this 3 wide off of turn 4 at Robertson, Cedric Hunter, and Dom DeLeo take you 3 abreast out of 4.
All 3 of us saw that coming, Hunter.
Yeah, sure did. Interesting to note. So Robertson won season 1 here for the Cup Series. Dom DeLeo has an ARCA win here in the one season that we ran ARCA. So he knows a thing or two about getting the job done at Kansas. And Nichols going to tap the wall there a bit, but has some ground to make up as he's on the door of that top 10, while Beckner in the middle trying to stay inside the top 10.
So racy. This track is so racy. There's lots of slipping and sliding around, making progress here and there, and middle groove, high groove, bottom groove, doesn't seem to matter. Yeah. Jake Nichols is just starting to check out up front.
Yeah, he's really found a decent groove. No one's really quite able to race him at the moment. Michael Curran trying to chase him down, as well as Seth Knoll in the top 3 of this battle continues to entertain back here. It's battle for essentially 12th place at the moment.
Look at that. It's just packed full of cars.
Mitchell trying to find some sort of lane, looking to the outside of Garrett Grant on the number 5 just ahead of him. Grant was going to shut the door. Ooh, and some contact with the wall for the number 2.
Maybe Ed Robertson got into the wall also. He's starting to lose a bit of ground coming off turn 4. Was running close towards that top 10 spot. And he might scrape the wall here again. That's how close you got to get to the wall, Kyle, in order to generate a run.
Yeah, you got that progressive banking. You can get right up against it and find some speed, but sometimes the car will just push up there and you just can't catch it. And we almost saw a couple of cars hit the wall there. Ed Robertson in particular, big sideways slide up the hill. And whoa, more drivers bouncing off the wall in turn 4. If I recall, it's been a couple of years, Finney, but it seems like a lot of the crashes were caused by people bouncing off the wall in turn 4 coming back into traffic.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because, again, turn 4 is very inviting. You want to push on that exit, but that wall straightens out really quickly. It's not a smooth exit like turn 2, so you'll see quite a few incidents potentially there, although so far so good. Just a couple taps at the wall so far. You see Travis Beckner 3 wide with Don DeLeo and Edward Schroeder Jr. just tapped the wall out of 4 last time by.
Well, Beckner's going to try and undercut the 22 there. It looked like he was trying to do that to get a run, but not going to be enough there as he's behind now to the 22, and there's Garrett Grant. Is that Garrett Grant behind?
Yes.
Yes, that is. For the top 5 spot. I don't know. You know what? I'm getting confused because the 22's up here 3 laps down. That's why I'm confused.
And Garrett's in different colors this week, so is the 7 is Scioli. Mixing things up here. Only 20 laps complete as Beckner tries to move up another position past Edward Scherer Jr. Curhan has stopped the bleeding at half a second back from Jake Nichols. And Connor Horn is now dealing with the 56 of Matheson, who's going forward now, as Connor now has to deal with 22 and then the 7. So maybe Jake Matheson's slow descent earlier in the race is going to put him in a spot where he can make up ground now.
Yeah, try to see if he can turn things around here as we look at the updated points. You can see now with Jeremy Miller making more of a charge, that gap went from down 11 points of a gap now down to 4. So Miller going the right direction, Bell going in the wrong direction, and that's pretty much the closest battles at the moment. Connor Horn and a bunch of others all 20-plus points up above the cutoff line. Miller, I think he knows he needs to perform here, but he's saving his stuff now for a late race charge. I shouldn't even say late race charge, still on lap 23 of 140, but later in the run charge.
A race charge.
Not even a quarter of the way down this race, but guys already developing a rhythm. There we see the 5 of Grant trying to get a run on that is Scherer Jr. and it's for the 9th spot. It's going to be alongside of him, but once again, that outside lane still too strong to get that run off the corner. And while Tyler Nichols in the back, going to let Connor Okresic go around him for the 11th spot.
Yeah, a battle for position brewing here between Ricky Springer and Jake Matheson. Ricky's going to go to the bottom. Matheson goes around him on the outside. 56 was faster than a lot of drivers last time by, but slower than the... Oh, trouble for Garrett Grant on the back straightaway.
Oh, did he have a hit with the wall? And see some heavy right side damage to that car.
Went on to the... he was right ahead of Okresic here through the middle of 1 and 2. And then he's going to wash up the hill and bounce off the 17. Once, twice, thrice. There it is. Nice save.
Yeah, big cities. He actually doesn't have that much damage, so he'll continue on. I thought he hit the wall. He had another car. So he's got a bit of damage, but definitely enough to continue. He's going to be way behind the field.
Now, Travis Beckner, he's running by himself in 8th. I just saw his room go dark, and the only light I can tell is his monitor, so that spooked me. I wonder if he's got something going on at the moment. We'll keep an eye on that issue.
To get him into the zone,
I suppose. Well, the screen turning off would make me pretty terrified. By the way, Curhan is running down Jake Nichols.
He is. He's caught up now at only 2/10 back. It's definitely one of the closer battles up in the front of the field. The rest of the top 5 is separated quite a bit. You can see right there. Up until he gets around Connor Horn, who's running in 5th.
Yeah, talking about a guy who would need a win. Curran doing pretty good on points for now, but wouldn't mind having a win because that helps him for the next round. Not only will he lock himself in with a win, that's more bonus points and gives him a better shot at moving on to the championship round.
I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I'd almost rather win the first race in a 2-race round, because then I have an entire race where I can just relax. I mean, winning this week certainly helps, but then you could get eliminated by crashing next week. You know, so it's you put yourself in a pretty deep hole that have to win the following week. So I'd rather win the first of the 2 rounds, 2 races in a round rather than the second one, but you'll certainly won't turn down the opportunity to win either of them. Look at this battle back here. Tyler Nichols in the center of Ed Robertson, and then there's Ryan Hartz on the bottom.
Yeah, Nichols going to throw it to the inside. He's been dropped after a decent run. He's been slowly dropping back now. I think we're pushing a little bit too hard. Ed Robertson going to go around the outside of Justin Anasogak. And there's a bump to the back from the 13 of Cedric Hunter to the 41, and he's not going to look to the inside.
Yeah, this is all happening outside the top 10. Robertson sitting there in 11th, Sogak 12th, and then we were just on board with Tyler Nichols. Under attack from Cedric Hunter for 13th, and now going to be 3 wide looking as Anna Sogak pulls off to the side and lets the 2 go around.
Lots of spots still trading back here. Matthew Bell also. This is not going the way that he would have liked, Finian. This is not the progress I thought we would see out of Matthew Bell. Started 18th. He's moved up, but barely.
Yeah, I was going to say he was behind Jeremy Miller. Now he's back in front of him. I have to update the points again. But yeah, he should be going now. The gap's somewhere, I was going to say, around 7 points between them off the top of my head. So he's doing a little bit better. So he kind of went to the front a little bit, dropped back, and then going back forward again, it seems. It's kind of the ebb and flow of this run so far as he kick off lap 30.
What lap 30 do to you?
Oh, well, it's going to tick it off the board.
We're Jared Jr. on the bottom of the racetrack here, hunting for grip, and Cedric Hunter in behind, kind of in the middle ground here. Field is spreading out. Want to start thinking about pit stops here. I know we've got probably another 15 to 20 laps to go, but we're getting to the stage where I'd expect us to go green for a long while if we've gotten through that chaotic first 30 laps or so. Shifting that Cedric Hunter's doing is interesting as well.
Yeah, not surprised, especially with the new gearbox in these next-gen cars. These guys have been shifting, get that extra speed. A lot easier to shift down a gear than with the previous H variant, now with a sequential and a 5-speed transmission. For these drivers who look at Justin Sogek, he's getting passed around the outside. Matthew Bell will get 1 more spot back inside the top 15 for him.
Oh, YSR has come down pit road.
Interesting. You know, schedule, I guess it is.
Is there a little bit of damage to that right rear?
Yeah, a little bit, but I wouldn't expect that to pull you down pit lane. But we'll see what happens for David Weissart and how long he'll sit on pit road as Oprezek goes by Ricky Springer. This 51's going the wrong direction at this stage in the race, Finian. Maybe shot out of the cannon too quick.
Yeah, I think so. Now might be dropping back. Here comes here comes Ricky Springer trying to make a pass. And here comes Travis Beckner, too, who's been actually his progress stalled around 9th position, but now he's caught these drivers up ahead, Springer, Oprezek, and James Scioli.
Springer's been on the decline after he drove all the way up to round 4th, where he was near Seth Knoll, but he's dropped a few spots since. Meanwhile, that battle for 3rd now continues with Knoll and Jake Matheson. So after he fell back a good bit of ways, Matheson on the climb back near the podium paying position, and Connor Horn rounds out that top 5.
A couple different battles kicking off now as we work lap 34. Beckner over Springer, and then Matheson on Seth Knoll. This is the one that's a little bit hotter, I think, at the moment as we roll through 3 and 4. David Weishart is back on the racetrack. It was just 4 tires and fuel, so I'm not exactly sure the circumstances around it, but didn't spend any time on pit lane fixing damage.
You just saw right there on screen Matheson and Knoll exchanging position, coming back to Springer versus Travis Beckner. Actually, just up ahead of these guys is the 14 and the 7 going at it. This is battle for 6th place. And now let's go back to these battles.
It's great racing, it really is. When the camera's jumping around to try to catch it all, you know it's a good night. And already been lots of comers and goers and passes left and passes right. And Hunter, it's been an interesting fight so far, but there's a long way to go.
Oh, Beckner tapping that wall, giving it a little tap. Springer just going to stay behind him, maybe try to force Beckner to overdrive the corner. But yeah, we still have a good bit of ways to go. Still have yet to see a green flag pit stop. I'll actually go down and see what the fuel strategy is, because these guys could be trying to make it a one-stop race, but most likely you could see 2. So I'll check in on the fuel strategy.
All right, he'll play Eric Wineland for us for a couple of minutes as Travis Beckner puts the 51 deeper in the rearview mirror. Curhan's progress on Jake Nichols has reversed direction, and now the 73 is once again gaining ground. But 73 has been pretty rock solid up front.
He has been really, really solid. No one's been able to really challenge him. I don't think anyone's going to really be able to challenge him until maybe we got a caution. Like we saw him get close, but no cigar. He is keeping track of him, but has been able to quite get up there and make a move. As Dom DeLeo is also up there, of course, about 3 laps down. I think he's just kind of hoping and praying for caution. Start getting some of those laps back.
Might not be his night based on what we've seen so far. It was pretty frantic early, and we did not see any yellow. Here's an updated look at the points as they run, and that cut line looking a little bit more in Matthew Bell's favor, 10 points up on Miller. But this has been fluctuating, and for Miller, he's going to have to do better than this. Contact! Scioli in the wall. Wow.
Oh, that's going to be interesting, because Beckner already has not been making a lot of friends in this playoffs, and I think he just added another enemy to his list.
Wait. Hold on. Was this with who I think it was? It was.
It's Travis Beckner.
These two have just been relentless on each other. No matter what series, no matter what season, and Beckner pushes up into the 7, and certainly hurt Scioli more than it did the 28. As if they needed an excuse to spar any further. Hunter, what you got?
Yeah, so the fuel window we're looking at, some guys are going to be making it a 2-stop race. We're looking at about, if you were to go from here on to the end of your fuel run, you'd be about 5, 6, maybe 7 laps short of halfway in this race. So we could see some guys try to stretch it, make it a 1-stop race, but most likely we'll see most guys come in and make it a 2-stopper.
Robertson, the only past winner of this, or the winner of this race the first time we went here back in season 1. Beckner, whoa, what's going on up the road? That's Jacob Bell on the bottom.
Yes, he rejoined the track after coming to the pits. He came in early. And I'm hearing Greg Mitchell is coming on down on the number 2 machine.
Oh, the 7's coming in as well.
Here comes the 2 as he will drop to pit road speed. That looked a little quick.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like he got a penalty for it, so I think he's good. Got away with it.
Sure did. It's a wake-up call. So the pit stops are beginning at the 40-lap mark.
Yeah, I'm hearing Sogek and Ricky Springer also coming in. So it's starting to hit a kickoff here. Pit stops coming in. Green flag pit stops.
Yeah, I was down with Connor Horn and Jeremy Miller from 609 Motorsports. They were saying that David Weishart pitting early caught him off guard, and that we could potentially see a 3-stopper. But, yeah, I'm not sure if we're looking at mostly 3-stoppers now, or it seemed like we were going to have a lot of guys come in and make 2-stoppers. But we'll have to see what everyone else does, and Jake Nichols still leading here at Kansas.
Yeah, laps
3
clicking.
seems a little bit excessive.
I would say it does, because you could, maybe, no, if you're pitting at lap 40, you could do this on 2 if you could go to lap 50, right?
Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't see you guys go a little bit longer.
Yeah, really lap 45 is what you're...
45 so, so we're seeing these guys short pit, so that's not too out of the question. So, I think we're mostly going to see 2 stops.
Yeah, again, don't think tires are worth enough here. I mean, Jake Nichols is only down about a second and 3/10. This is not the 4-second tire wear that you're going to get at a place like Indianapolis or Darlington.
No.
And even that, the 3-stop strategy didn't even work there, did it?
No, it didn't.
You need more tire wear
time
for that to work.
Yeah, it is not enough time to come back at in the run. So in these races, so you're pretty much going to have to try to cut out a stop when you can. So that thing's going to really be between 2 to 1 stop, and even with the 1 stop, you're going to have to save quite a bit of gas. So I'm feeling going to see most of these guys go with 2 stops. We've seen a couple guys go for the undercut. Man, it looks like a lot of these guys going about on schedule, so they're going to be going for mostly an overcut, it seems.
Lakatos, driver in red, needs to have a good night. Actually needs a win. Him and Cedric Hunter, those 2 drivers in red, they're going to need a miracle to happen here. And it has happened in the past where we have seen guys do it on the fuel mileage, which it's looking like, Kyle, that this could turn into a fuel mileage race.
Well, he doesn't, miracle might be overstating it. He needs to have a really good night and then have someone ahead of him have a really bad night. Miracle would be that he absolutely has no other way to get in other than a win. And, he's got a bad car and he's got damage. That'd be a miracle. But I don't know that it's looking very unlikely. But again, it's not impossible. Cars hitting pit lane. The challenge is a track like this, I don't think is unpredictable enough to get you those crashes that take out championship competitors. Even if the crashes come and happen, it's not going to be a catastrophic race-ending collision like we would have seen at Talladega. So keep that in mind as well, as Michael Curhan is now hounding the tailpipes of Jake Nichols for the lead.
It's interesting he's starting to come back here now that we got pit stops slowly underway. Now he's starting to bring the charge back to the 73 Jake Nichols. Matheson a second behind these 2, battling it out.
I'm really curious as to how this is going to go between Nichols and Michael Curran, because typically we see Jake Nichols either hold back, or if he's up front, he drives away with it and then just pulls out to a ridiculous lengthy lead. But hasn't been the case tonight. Curran's been closer. This is probably the closest he's been to him all night long, and he really hasn't driven away from the 24 car.
No, there was the largest gap he had was about 0.6 of a second. Here comes Jacob Bell with hero tires on. Feel like Superman.
On easy mode.
Yep. Like turning the AI down in NASCAR heat, but he's going to be respectful of this lead battle here as Curhan's going to drop to the bottom, and the battle for the lead is on here at the front for Kansas.
Starting to get on here as a big puff of smoke just as we passed pit lane. I noticed out of the corner of my eye one of the camera shots I was looking at, but Curran trying to make a move down the front straightaway, side by side. Drag race off into turn 1. We'll look down low, and it looks like he might have something here. The issue is, though, that run off the corner, it's hard to beat, but Nichols starting to struggle on that exit. See him got the car yawing out a little bit.
Horn, Okrezik, Beckner down pit road. Matheson gaining on this battle as Wally's closing a few car lengths since they've gone side by side. And right in the middle of that, you see Jacob Bell again being respectful of those racing not only in the playoffs, but for the win. As the 56 is closing in, going to make this a 3-car battle amidst green flag pit stops.
And the 77's been way more patient than I would have been. I know that he's got some stake in the game as far as the league is concerned, but he's been very, very nice letting these 2 sort it out at the expense of his own race. And now he's going to drop down and let Matheson go by. Good guy Jacob tonight, as here comes the 24 to the bottom, working lap 50 of 140. And see what Curhan's got. Or if he's going to fake him out and head to pit lane, he will do just that.
Let's see, that's going to help him out. The undercut for the 24. It should help him out in the short term. Again, I'm curious to see if Nichols is going to go longer now. If he's got enough fuel to go a little bit longer, which I think he should, from what we were hearing about the fuel estimates. He should be able to go for a little bit longer. Now, Matheson going to be challenging the 73s to look at Connor Horn. He's on the back of Seth Knoll. These drivers have made their pit stops, so they're battling it out for 9th on the track. Should be further up the order once this whole sorts out.
And for the lead, because Jake Nichols is coming to pit lane, Jake Matheson stayed out. I like the staying out longer call that Matheson is doing.
Black flag. Travis Beckner is speeding on pit lane.
Ooh. That is big.
And this is a bad night to have this scenario play out. Yeah, going back to the points picture coming in, Travis Beckner has a pretty good cushion, but he can pretty much erase that cushion by running 24th. And without a lot of opportunities for yellows tonight, this is going to sting more than it normally would. Here comes that 56.
And he's on down. I was actually looking, I'm a bit surprised by for Beckner's penalty. He only came in around 47 miles an hour with speed limits 45. So I was actually surprised he gave him a penalty. I guess he continued that for a little bit too long.
Gosh, that was a big, big penalty too. 43 seconds in the box, Hunter.
Yeah, that's going to make the cutoff a little more interesting, to say the very least, as she goes by Matheson, his teammate, on pit road. Meanwhile, Tyler Nichols comes out as the leader, still yet to make a pit stop, same as Casey Lakatos. And when they do cycle through, it seems like Weishart's going to cycle out as the new leader.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with this 33, if he's just trying this Hail Mary strategy.
He's doing the triple, I think, the triple stop.
It makes me nervous that so few people are doing that, though.
I mean, hey, I guess at this point in the season, why it's just like, I'll try anything.
Yeah. Make it interesting, I suppose.
Tyler Nichols, Casey Lakatos going long.
Yeah, 54 lap. I just want to pay attention to this because if they're going to stretch this out as long as possible, that might be good knowledge for later. 54 laps seems like it's at the very upper edge of the fuel window, and Tyler's going to pit. I'll bet you Casey stays out another one because that's what Casey does. Binds extra ounces of fuel in the tank just to be that extra lap. Scioli's going to get to Weishart here pretty quick and put him back in position, and the 7 actually might cycle to the lead very soon after Lakatos hits pit lane. Now, bad news for Travis Beckner fans. He's 3 laps down now because of that pit lane penalty, and Dom DeLeo and Jacob Bell are ahead of him on the racetrack as far as laps down are concerned. So it would take several yellows, probably 4 or 5, to cycle Travis back to the front. We have had no cautions so far in the first 55 laps of this race.
Yeah, I think as soon as Casey pits, I think he should get one of those laps back.
Yeah, still, it'd be probably at least 3 yellows, and there's going to be more drivers that'll go lap down shortly. So it's going to be a tough night.
Weishart might not even cycle out as the leader because Scioli is catching him in a hurry.
I think you're right about that. I didn't really expect Casey to stay out 2 extra laps. I thought he'd just go to 1, but 56 laps on his tank of fuel. Here's the 7 approaching in the Simrat market car. Remember, Scioli bounced off the fence last time, but he is way deep in on the tire strategy. 15 laps on that set already. Michael Curhan behind him only has 5 laps left. Curhan is ahead of Jake Nichols by 1.2 seconds, so he got the job done very well on pit lane. Here comes the 7 to the inside, and he's going to go by Weishart, and he will cycle back to the lead when Lakatos hits pit lane.
Tuppy will go to the top for now, or at least second place.
Curhan's right here. Curhan's actually going to get to the 7 before even passing the 50.
There he goes, running to the inside, and not really much of a contest because of the different strategies as Weishart taps the ball off the floor.
This worked out really well, Hunter, for Michael, because he not only got ahead of Jake Nichols, but he's put 2 cars between himself and Jake Nichols. So I think that strategy worked out very nicely, pitting a lap before him.
Yeah, I was curious as to how that was going to work out, and there's only a lap difference between the tires of Curran and Nichols as he goes around Weishart for the 4th, but if he can hold on to this and not make any mistakes on pit road. Yep, there goes Lakatos. But if he can keep it clean on pit road, they're with a win tonight.
Yeah, I mean, lap times wise, Nichols is a click faster, but it's really not all that much. So we'll see if Curhan's able to defend like we saw the 73 do last time out. Here's Seth Knoll, Ricky Springer, Connor Horns back here in 8th place, just behind, kind of a no man's land here tonight. But was Nichols by Scioli?
I really wish these guys would not pass each other as much. It's great. It's great on the track, but me trying to make the spreadsheet work,
it is challenging, and it's only going to get worse as the run goes on and comers and goers are. Reinhardt's up to 10th.
Yeah, for Reinhardt, it's been a while. I feel like he's really been in a lull ever since he didn't miss the cut for the playoffs, which was surprising in and of itself, but he ended up missing a couple races, which is why he missed it. He's been in a bit of a rut, it seems.
I think this is a rut that lasts much longer than this season, as Travis Beckner just threw his fist down. I'm not sure what's going on there, but Hart's really has not had the level of performance that we've seen in previous seasons, Hunter. He was vying for a championship not too long ago, and it's just been an unremarkable last couple of months for the 3.
Yeah, it's been a season to forget for Ryan Hartz in the 3. Not to mention, over the course of the season, he has moved, and internet issues have been plaguing the success that he's had in years past, but there's still plenty of time for him to end the year on a high note as we see a battle on track for the podium spot. Matheson clears to 7 to Scioli.
Moves up. And here, look at the point situation as of now. Give it another lap, it might not be right, but Travis Beckner
just changed it.
just 11 above the cut line, down in 25th place. So if Jeremy Miller can find some pace on the racetrack, that could put Travis in serious jeopardy here. Good news for Travis is that Jeremy really hasn't had a phenomenal night.
No, he hasn't, and I think that's one thing that he's got to hope for. That being said, we get some cautions. Beckner's really going to, I think, lose out once the field gets closer in, because might have some more guys trying to get up near the front. So I think Beckner, I guess, has to hope that really just runs as it is.
Ooh, yeah, gonna need that as Miller is going to rely on Connor Horn in the 609 stable. As we look back up front, going to have a battle for the lead here as Nichols closes in on Michael Curran through 3 and 4.
I really wasn't expecting Nichols to run Curran down this quickly, to be honest. But maybe Jake was just controlling his pace before. He didn't let Curran have lead until right when he pit. So, not really sure that Curran's actually quicker, or if Nichols was just kind of biding his time in that first run. Here he comes to the bottom.
I'm trying to look at the bottom, but now Curran has got the preferred lane, so he's going to keep that top. Don't think he's going to let it go away. And we saw Nichols, he was pretty able to easily hold on. I think that's when we saw Curran decide to dip out and pit early just to get that track position, and I think it was worth the call. I think Nichols might have a decent shot at getting back on by, but Curran now putting up a decent fight.
Opposite of Daytona, where the inside of the racetrack is your security blanket because you got that double yellow line. At Kansas, the outside is your security blanket because of the runs you get off the turn. You see that out the bumper of Curran, and Nichols trying to get by on the bottom, but every time you come off corner exit, that outside lane just propels you down the straightaway.
Curran's got his eyes forward, checks the mirror on corner exit to see what Nichols is going to do. He's going to cover down on the bottom. Maybe leave the 73 the inside lane to play with as they rocket off into turn 1 here, working lap 67. 66. As Nichols takes the lead away and crossover, cross under here from Curran. Does he have the power to do it? He does.
We got a decent run on the back straightaway, side by side. Does he have enough run to throw it into 3 Carl Edwards style? He's going to throw it in there, not like Carl Edwards. He's going to be stuck on the bottom. I don't know. He might lose it here. That run off the corner we know is so strong. Here comes Nichols back at the stripe. Drag race for both of them. They come flying across the line. 9,000ths of a second separating them.
Door to door in the 1. Holding his own on the bottom is Curran, but also on the outside. And clearing him now is Jake Nichols. So new leader at Kansas. Jake Nichols reclaims the top spot.
And quickly rocketing towards halfway here. Lap 67 of 140. Lap 70 marks our halfway point. And Nichols has led the vast portion of the laps so far, 49. And he doesn't have to lead too many more to lock in the most laps led tonight. If he does that, that's an extra point. That helps. Not that he needs them. The rich get richer, as they often do.
Well, this might benefit Travis Beckner. I believe David Weishart has called it a night.
He has, just now. That is going to help Beckner, but I think what would really help Beckner is more yellows, and he's likely not going to get those. Here's Scioli and Springer. Scioli's going backwards. Connor Horn up to 5th. Got the 3rd freshest tires of the top 10. Ooh, Springer's in the wall up top there, but keeps his foot in it.
Wants that spot and we'll get it back. So he charges back on the outside, back up to 6 for Ricky Springer. Ooh. Here's a battle brewing back here. The battle for 15, Jeremy Miller trying to make a charge forward. Gonna stay ahead of Douglas Newman. He wants the spot back, and Bryce Senezek also in tail. So 15, 16, 17 duking it out.
Yeah, up 9 spots to start. This one is Miller doing everything needs to be in a position to possibly make it to the next. As you see, they're looking at a new big. Cedric also in red, running inside the top 10. I'm going to need a little more out of that. In case of Licata running 21st. The only other playoff driver that's on the outside looking in is Blaze McKinney, but he's not here tonight, and that officially eliminates him from the playoffs.
Yeah, Blaze McKinney didn't give this one a go, but Jeremy Miller, I know he's up 9 spots, but this is just a not remarkable round. Here's the problem, Finian, is that he's got an opportunity to capitalize on Travis Beckner's woes, but doesn't have the pace. If Jeremy Miller's running top 5, he's moving on, as he's going to get run into by the 71. Ooh. So, if you can't capitalize when your opponents have a bad day, I don't think you can move on in the playoffs.
No, I was going to say, and really it's going to come down to the fact that I think for Miller, he needs a caution to come out to get him in a position where he can perform. But as it runs, like I said, I think for Beckner, best case scenario for him is this race continues to go green. And I think he would be sitting good after that as Newbegin and Sinizak start to duke it out in behind Jeremy Miller. And also just want to point out, too, how many playoff drivers are in the top 10?
Almost 10.
8 of the 12.
Cream rises. What was that, Hunter? You got Walmart Connect internet tonight.
Yeah, the internet's not that good. I was saying Creek will also rise too.
What now?
Creek.
Is that some Southernism? I've never heard that before.
No, you never heard of what a creek is?
A creek? Like a small river?
The place?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What about it rising?
Yeah, it rises.
Does it?
Yeah, whenever there's enough rain.
Oh. That was like a tidal thing.
That's true.
When there's enough rain, it goes from a creek to a river.
But there wouldn't be a creek anymore.
Because it rose.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because it rose to the top. Kind of get it.
No.
Kyle, if anything, I would expect you to get that over me.
That's a miss.
No, the southern term for it is crick. Like C-R-I-K.
I heard that, but I thought it was you got a crick in your net.
No.
That's what I thought it was about.
Do you want to know another southern term?
What's that?
Why not?
Moonshine.
I know
you know
that
why
one.
they call it moon? You know why they call it moonshine?
Because you did it at night?
Yeah.
No, because I was making beer and the moon was shining on it.
Oh. Man.
That one went better
I'm born
in my head.
40 years too early or 40 years too late, I think.
It's been a long day today.
Dawson Miller says, we do not say creek like that down here. Well, somebody does. Maybe down in New Orleans or something. The battle for the lead has been amazing, but I don't know if Jake is just kind of pedaling it here and just biding his time and not burning up the tires, or if Curran's actually keeping him this tight, because it's like dangling the carrot in front of Curran and not letting him get by.
Yeah, I'm wondering what Curran's got planned for this next run, because we've got one more round of pit stops left to go. And we're about halfway to that point, I would say, as we're about 25, 26 laps on their tires. So for Curran, what's the game plan? Go long or go short? Yeah, I'm just kind of thinking it might be better for him to go a little bit longer on the run.
I don't know. I know, Larry Mack. Let's have a look at the points again. And Travis Beckner gains 3 on Miller on that cut line, tied with Matthew Bell. And for Miller, this is going to be so frustrating to walk away if this is how things stand. And, give him, a top 5 running, and he's in. Edward Sherrod Jr. has also called it a day.
He had made a couple contacts with the wall. I think he was not feeling the pace, so he's called it a run. So 23 drivers remain, of which only 19 on the lead lap.
And this really is a
caution-free.
Yep. But
so I was going to say, is we're going caution-free for over half this race now.
I was going to say, this feels like a Kansas race. I mean, just this is the Kansas that I remember from when I was a kid, when you're just like, oh, look.
What, you mean like the way they're running right now?
Yeah. You're like, where's 5th? Oh. There it is. This is just in stark contrast to the first 30 laps of the race that were pretty wild. The field's now very spread out, and this is going to become the strategy race that we were anticipating.
Looking at drivers back there, and like you mentioned, it's got to be frustrating. There's literally nothing he can do at this point. He's actually just behind Jeremy Miller, who is his biggest threat to get past him. There is Jeremy appearing on screen, and 28 will go to the inside of him. And every time it's weird, because every time Jeremy Miller looks like he's about to get a run going, like he's about to get the pace going, he just seems to lose it. Like he was fighting with Douglas Newbig and Bryce Senezak. He lost out to Newbig and Senezak still in behind, but now he's back in 17. So he's kind of dropping and going.
Sorry, I noticed there are two with Beckner. He wasn't fighting as much with the steering wheel as he usually is.
Maybe we got better mounts.
Maybe. I did see it bounce up and down a little bit, but not as much as it did in weeks past.
Oh, I want to see Jeremy. I want to see him do like a rallycross race. That thing's gonna be flopping all over the place. You looked at me like you knew I was talking about him.
Oh, he knows we're talking about him.
I think his table's made of Jell-O. I heard I was calling a race with Jake Sperry on Saturday. You know, our favorite British friend that steps in for SimTV every now and then, and said that one of the cars was like wrestling an octopus, and I thought that was a pretty apt description.
Which car was he talking about?
We were doing
a GT3 race.
Yeah, I think it was the Lexus skedaddling around. And it just cracked me up. The things he said.
Oh, it's like flying octopus, mate.
Australian.
I always get those mixed up sometimes.
British Australian.
Jeremy Bay says the table's made out of ballistics gel. I'll tell you what, that's the 7 and the 28 are done with this season. One of them's going to need to be made out of ballistics gel with how many times they've been shooting shots at each other. Oh, man. Laps clicking away up front. Jake Nichols just out of reach of Michael Curhan.
Jake Matson just hit the wall out of turn 4.
Yeah, you just did. He was closing in, too. It was under a second between him and Jake Nichols. And, yeah, that's a big hit. That's like Dale Jr. back in 2014.
Yeah, that's a pretty nasty impact there. You're going to feel that, I think. That's going to hurt the car. He's out, and we'll see what happens the next couple of laps. But that's not, I mean, he's locked in, doesn't need to worry about anything. But I would be if I didn't have that green number next to me after that one.
I was gonna say, I was literally just about to mention that he's catching up to the leaders and about to fight with them, and then I saw him slap the wall out of turn 4. So there kind of goes that, at least for now. Also, Jeremy Miller of note, he's come down to pit lane. He's back out on the track in 21st.
First 3 have seceded and made their own state, and they're not letting Connor Horn in. 5 seconds back is the 42. Completely in no man's land, but making pretty good time, all things considered. He's actually lapping pretty co-requisite with Jake Nichols at the moment, time-wise.
What would you call that state?
Winterland?
Jake, I would say Jake Lynn, because there's 2 of the 3 of them are named Jake.
Man, I really wish Eric was here, because I would totally be like, oh, there is a person called Wineland, and throw it to him.
Oh, man. We're getting delirious. That's how you know it's been an 86-lap green flag run. You know, you never get to get this silly when the race has been a messy one. You're always calling, oh, trouble, but there's no trouble.
Well, there could be trouble. You never know.
Certainly could be. Well, how about this?
Still quite a few laps left to go.
Tell you, if Curhan is actually keeping pace with Nichols and Nichols isn't pedaling this, then that 24 is a fast race car tonight.
He's actually got a really good run right here on the back straightaway, but I think he might be just saving it up for later, because I think he feels it might be a point to push now. We saw even the last time, too, he kind of sat in behind the 73, waited until the pit stop cycles kind of started, and then started to push and force the 73 to push a little bit more.
Yeah, he's been keeping up with
in the background. Sorry to cut you off. He's coming in the pit lane. Oh, he stopped for him.
Yeah.
34 laps on his set of tires.
And 62 to go. I don't know that I would have liked pitting right there. I would have waited another 5 or 6 laps, probably.
He is the only one locked in green, so it doesn't hurt to experiment every now and then. But yeah, that is an interesting strategy call there.
The longest we saw run earlier was the high 50s as far as laps are left. So maybe you think with some fuel savings you can get there, but...
Oh, and interesting, right side's only for the 56.
That is interesting. Wait, why? Hold on. You have to take a full tank of fuel, don't you?
Yeah, but I mean, no, but these guys have a slightly smaller tank. They only got...
Oh, maybe.
8%?
Yeah, maybe a 10.5-second stop is enough to get fuel in.
Yeah, so...
Not to mention, maybe he's more comfortable with the left sides being worn compared to the right, even though he did smack the wall with the right side. So maybe that has something to do with it, but I could be wrong.
I was thinking that's part of it, too.
Ship a Theseus, smack it into the wall, and replace any parts until you don't have the same car anymore. Good strategy.
Not like back in the day where you'd smack the wall and then in some cases your car would get better.
I mean, driving a Fiat might make it better.
I remember it was an Atlanta race in the Xfinity Series. Kyle Busch smacked the wall, and then he drove up to the front and held the lead in one race.
Kyle Busch could have probably driven a lawnmower up to the front, though, too, so keep that in mind. Was this an Xfinity race?
Yeah, back in, I want to say, 2013, maybe?
Give him a 124 scale diecast, you probably find a way to win with it. And pit stops underway. Seth Knoll, Connor Horn, and a whole bunch of others.
Kyle Busch is anything with an engine.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was a Kyle Busch fan before he was bandwagon, before he went back to Bowtie, baby.
Oh.
So I was through all the hard years.
Well, as a junior fan, I had a hatred for him for almost a whole
decade. I bet you all
decade.
did. You guys got your revenge in 2008 in the fall race, and you guys never let it go.
We don't forget.
That much was clear. Down the back straightaway. Nichols, Curhan, 1.7 tenths apart. Does Curhan beat Nichols to pit lane this time, Finian, or do you think he's going to try to go a lap further?
I think for him it might be better to go a little bit long just to give him that tire advantage. It's kind of hard to tell because Nichols worked past him pretty quickly and with just a one lap advantage in the tires. So I feel like for Curran it might be better just to do the opposite. Either that or do a really big undercut. But even with the big undercut, then Nichols is going to come by really quick on fresher tires. So I don't know. It's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think for him it might be better to go a little bit longer.
Well, Kresick, Cedric Hunter, Matthew Bell, Robertson, they're all coming down the pit. Hartz as well. I would expect the 24 to stick to his strategy, maybe come in around lap 100. He came in close to lap 50. Unless the 73 comes in and pits before him, then I would expect him to pit as soon as he gets a chance to.
You know what I think would be definitely worth trying is the Matheson two-tire strat. His lap times are looking pretty quick.
If you only have to pass one car, that's why not, because you might as well just kick four and try to beat them the old-fashioned way when you're this close. You don't need to throw anything at the fence to try to make it stick, but here comes the 73 before the 24. That's a critical situation here as Nichols is into the pits and Curhan will have the overcut.
Interesting.
The question is, how long does he go?
Interesting to note, Ryan Hartz has also called it a night, so that will be another spot for Beckner, so this just helps the 28's case.
30's up to 10th, but obviously because he pit a little bit later, so 24 is going to dive to the bottom. I think he's probably expected to come this time or next. 44 laps on the tires, and here he comes to pit lane.
Then a one lap over for the 24. Let's see if it was a decent in lap for him, trying to push to get in, see if he can get past the 73. Jake Matheson, we know he's going to be effectively taking the lead. He's got 7 laps on these drivers, 7-8 laps on both Curran and Nichols, so we'll see how it all plays out. So got 3 drivers left to pit: Garrett Grant, Tyler Nichols, Michael Curran. Tyler Nichols and Garrett Grant.
Under 50 laps to go. We haven't had a look at our SimRat Market replay a whole lot of times tonight, but race fans, make sure you head over to simratmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple and easy to use, so it keeps you more focused on the racetrack. And Ed Robertson was one of our last winners. Was it Robertson?
Season 1.
Season 1, yeah, that's right. In the Rick's Hot Sauce number 64. Make sure you check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Make sure you try that Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings.
By the way, that is Jake Matheson.
Rookie? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
In area standards, yes. To iRacing's, no.
Jimmy Johnson showing up to NASCAR last year, putting rookie stripes back on him. We know where you came from. Don't try to.
Jimmy Johnson going to IndyCar.
Well, okay, that one.
I don't think he wants to talk about that.
I'm going to forget that stage of Jimmy Johnson's career.
We don't talk about Jimmy's IndyCar career.
I want to remember him as a champion. Or he does too. And things are cycling back around. Keep an eye on this 42 as well. 12.2 second stop, Finney, and that tells me that was also a two-tire stop.
Let me confirm with that, but I'm thinking that might be the case for him.
I don't know that I've ever seen a four-tire stop under 12.5 seconds with this car. I could be wrong.
You know, you might have a really good picker. You never know. Yeah, I know it was two tires.
Yeah, and Curhan's right behind him on 4, so this will be a pretty good understanding of what our situation should look like. Curhan's down about 1.5 seconds from Jake Nichols. And Nichols ran down Michael really quickly last time. We'll see how this pans out.
Yeah, Curhan's struggling a little bit to get by Connor Horn at the moment.
I think the difference in the tires would probably show itself more on the tail end of the run.
Yeah.
See him go off into turn 3 there, and Connor's got plenty of turn. What race was it, Hunter, that someone tried the two-tire call and ended up being the winning one?
Was it this season?
Yeah.
I think it was Blaze McKinney.
Yeah. Was it at Indy?
Yes.
Yeah. So I wonder if there's a trick to changing the right sides only, just for handling purposes more than anything. Maybe not for speed, but to gain some turn and rotation. Maybe that's the choice there, because Connor's not going as slow as you'd anticipate with such old tires. Maybe because he gains back some of that performance in balance.
Yeah, I think it definitely might be something. I think we've seen Connor Horn in the past to try this was, I think, with the Gen 6 car, do a strat where he went only with right side tires and was actually faster with the way the handling played out. But we're watching a battle side by side with Curran and Connor Horn. I'm sure Curran will love Connor Horn to give up the spot so he can get back to the 73. But
not
Connor
helping.
is putting up a fight and will finally clear him.
Yeah, this is not helping the 24. He lost a bunch of time with that. 1.8 back now from Curran. First part from Nichols, rather.
Well, I'm still going at it with the 24 because that's a position for the podium spot. That's a chance to talk to us after the race. Connor Horn, he wants to talk to us after the race. He was giving it his all, but to no avail as Curran finally gets by and now sets sail for the 73 and for the 56 of Matheson, who could come away, Kyle, with this win.
Yeah. Coveted place to talk to us at post-race here. So Jake Matheson trying to steal one. And he's about a half a second slower than Jake Nichols. That is not going to stand, I don't think. But here's a look at the live points, Finian, and Jake Nichols sitting pretty regardless of the win situation or not. But look at the cut line with Matthew Bell only 2 above Jeremy Miller. That is a way for Miller to get in. Matthew Bell's 12th, but with Nichols not leading Finian, this changes the math quite a bit.
Yes, does. This is also with Jeremy Miller pitting in early, and he's been slowly dropping down the order. So this will kind of adjust out at some point. He's already actually lost two spots since the graphic was brought up. So it's not looking particularly good in his favor. I think he's just kind of hoping a caution comes out and he can get some decent track position. And Lakatos, too, he's actually yet to pit, number 50, so he's also going to be falling down the order.
Yeah, he's hoping for a caution to come out so he can stay up here, mix it up with the guys, and possibly earn himself a better position. But gone over 100 laps without a caution, and in the past we have gone caution-free in some of these races, and it seems like tonight might be that night, although we have had a couple of yellows in the past in these Kansas races, but they've happened early on, like right off the rip or 10, 20 laps into a run. We haven't had a single caution tonight.
No, and to be honest, we've only gotten close once or twice, and it's been pretty clean since that opening 15, 20 lap run. So, you know, unless something drastic happens, that's not looking good for Jeremy Miller. Jake Matheson, though, he does not want a yellow. He wants this thing to run out green. Still getting run down about half a second a lap, but he has a 3.2 second advantage. So it's going to be a while before Nichols gets here, Finian. Maybe 10, 15 laps?
It is going to be a while, and I think he's just also hoping something happens. Someone's arm gets itchy. And a caution comes out to break up the monotony of the race so far with no cautions. I think that's the kind of thing he's hoping for at the moment, but I appreciate the call. I kind of wish that Michael Curran tried the two-tire strat just to get ahead of the 73. I think it would have been something.
Hey, this Toyota's growing on me a little bit. The liveries that Solar Flare Racing's put on, at least it complements the nose. The rear is great. I have no problem with the rear. It was the front that was upsetting, but
Nichols might get there within 5 laps. I'm just looking at the most recent lap times. 32.4 from Matheson, 31.6 from Jake Nichols.
And some traffic.
Jake is working with, traffic. Actually, ironically, his teammate. Not necessarily doing him any favors.
Yeah, back there.
He's going to gain another half second here on this lap.
More than, 9/10 of a second. That was a great lap for Nichols, not a good one for Matheson. Again, Matheson doesn't need to win this race. Jake Nichols doesn't need to win this race, but Curhan would love one. He's only
love it, but he also doesn't need it.
Well, yeah, he's 24's actually running Nichols down a little bit, so we'll keep an eye on that car as well, especially once Jake catches Jake. Maybe Curhan can show up and ding-dong ditch him.
Perhaps.
He might ding-dong, but I don't know if he'll ditch.
Ding-dong ditch and run to the creek.
Or the crick.
Or the crick. Lap 109 of 140. We have been green for 109 straight laps. This is one of the longest green flag runs we've had in some recent memory here. Lead battle will get on here shortly. Matheson, Nichols, half a second apart, and down the front straightaway. That 73 is going to be there within this lap, I think.
Closing in.
Oh man, look at the speed difference in the middle of the corner.
I mean, it's a 9-day difference between the 56 and the 73. Curran, he's trying all he can to close the gap, but to no avail as the 73 closes in on that bumper. Going to peak low to the inside.
Oh, he's going to make this
Going to work
easy.
his way around Matheson. Going to lead this lap and set sail with 30 to go from Kansas.
See how hard Matheson fights this. He knows he doesn't have the car, so he's not even going to try.
I don't think he can. I think this is again him just kind of hoping for the best with the strategy. I mean, it still might work out for him, all things considered, but not going to be the winning one in this case, as Nichols basically blows on by him. And here comes Michael Curran trying to cash back up. And I think Michael Curran, that battle with the 42 Connor Horn, I think that really hurt his chances of trying to get back to him.
Well, he did gain a couple tenths while Nichols was navigating by Matheson. He just has to hope he's not going to lose those same tenths getting by the 56. I don't think this is over yet. He only has a 1-lap advantage. But we are going to find out now if Nichols was holding back those first couple runs when Michael was just kind of hanging on the coattails, or if Michael really had the pace to win this race.
Whoa! He's going to have the pace to get around Matheson with these. That's going to help him out quite a bit.
Less than 1 second back, guys, with 28 laps to go. So if he's got the speed, he's going to have time to get there.
Kind of hoping make it interesting here as you get into the later stages of this race. It is kind of crazy that the battle for the lead has not separated more than 2 seconds for pretty much all of this race. You got to say it's pretty close.
Also, shout out to Cameron Hearn, who says that Michael Curran is my hero. It's a teammate from Physicus Motorsports, not able to race tonight, but cheering on his teammate who is continuing to close that gap bit by bit to Jake Nichols.
Laps continue to wind down here. Under 15 minutes of racing remaining from here to the end. And this race has just gone by at a feverish pace without any yellows to slow it down. Curhan gained another couple tenths that time, 3 tenths that lap. He's within 6 tenths now. The question is, when he gets there, how does he make the pass, Vinny? It seems very difficult. You're going to burn up your tires trying to go on down on the bottom, but you'll have to get pretty crafty.
Yeah, he will have to get pretty crafty and come up with something. Curious, maybe use the bumper? Potentially, I doubt he will. Well, a lot of these drivers have been racing each other fairly clean. I think the last thing you want is to start making enemies here, especially when you don't really need to, because Michael Curran, he's sitting really pretty, as far as the points are concerned, he's sitting fourth, well above the cutoff line, so he doesn't need a win rate. He doesn't need to pull a Joey Logano, Matt Kenseth.
Wow. I don't think we were
I
going
have the same fact.
Well, that's pretty drastic. I don't think he's anywhere near that, but
We don't hit at Martinsville later in the season.
yeah.
We do hit at Iowa, which would be the closest thing.
Another cornfield track coming up. Man, little America. 4 tenths apart. I'm allowed to say that I'm from the Midwest. I'm not from it, but I live there now.
You're not from the Midwest.
You can consider
Rochester
Chicago,
might as well.
I mean, honestly, Rochester, New York to Chicago was not that big of a cultural shift, if I'm going to be honest. I always joke that in Rochester, when you bump into someone by accident, you'd say, whoop. And in Chicago, you just say, whoop. So you just drop the W.
And meanwhile, in New York, say, "Hey, I'm walking in."
Oh, excuse me. Oops, sorry.
Oh, pardon me, my bad, eh?
And out of turn 2, the gap is down to just 0.3 of a second, just over 20 laps to go. And you'd never know that Curhan was reeling in Jake Nichols. He looks so calm, but also laser focused.
I tell you what, these guys are catching up on a lot of lap traffic up ahead. There's about 7 cars, or about 6 cars just up the road that they're catching. This could be interesting because they've been finding it in relatively clear traffic or traffic that was significantly slower. So depending on how they catch them and how much they're willing to fight, and I can tell you that Travis Beckner is actually the next car up ahead. So, ooh, that could get spicy.
It sure can. I'm thinking back to Auto Club when Jake Nichols had a shot at winning and then got caught up in some late, last corner calamity. Michael Curran went on to win that race. A little bit of a different scenario here where Curran has had the speed, but there could be that possibility where some last corner or few laps of the race there could be calamity and could work out in the end for Curran, but he is holding his own. They're catching lap traffic. We'll see what the 24 can do.
Look at your points as they stand with just over those 20 laps to go. Matthew Bell, 9 above the cut line to Jeremy Miller now. Cedric Hunter, Casey Lakatos effectively out unless that miracle that Hunter was mentioning earlier happens to them to get them a win in the last 20 laps. Still could, who knows, caution could come out. We could see some chaos, but things are looking like the door is shutting on championship hopes for the 30, the 13, and the 50, and certainly the 87.
Yeah, because there needs to be a big change up in this race the way it's running, and we might see it here because here they come back to Travis Beckner. I'm sure Travis doesn't want to go lap down. If he does go lap down at this point, already being 2, not going to really be much of a difference. So I'm curious to see if he's going to even bother putting on much of a fight here.
Here we go. Nichols going to shoot the gap between 2 lap cars here. Coming out of turn 4. Curhan's got a big run coming. 20 laps to go here at Kansas. Beckner throws the block on the 73. Here comes Curhan, but where does he go?
Oh, I don't know if he necessarily wants to go in behind Beckner. He's been pretty slow on this set of tires. The 73 going to go low, try to clear the 28. Curran going to chop the nose off the 71 as he tries to get by. And there is the 73 slamming the door shot on Beckner.
Oh, that was message sent here, Hunter. 20 laps to go, and it's game on at the front.
Curran going to have to send a little approach through the turn. He might have enough room to clear between himself and Travis Beckner. Might have enough to go alongside. No, almost enough to challenge Nichols for the lead. As they cross the stripe with 19 to go, he is as close as he's ever been to the bumper of Nichols.
They're going to have to contend with more traffic just ahead of him here. Nichols, for the time being, has Curhan in his dirty air. 1.5 tenths, 2 tenths now. And this is where Curhan's going to have to be very smart. He almost had Jake in the spot where he needed him there, but just kind of got caught behind the 28. Look at these guys ahead fighting for position. One's the 77. He's not going to be a factor as we saw earlier, but whoa, wow, that was a big slide out of 4. Who was that?
Jeremy Miller got a piece of the wall. He's battling with Justin Sogak for 14, so they were in a battle. Bell's out a little bit further back, so he might let the leaders on by. And for Nichols, the big thing is going to give him some dirty air to deal with. This is where Curran could take advantage.
Watch Nichols up the racetrack there in dirty air. That's going to hurt his mid-corner. Curran's a little loose there through the center, but he got a good drive off the corner.
It looked like he was trying to set up for a run there, but couldn't quite get it as they're Going to work their way through Jeremy Miller. He's
Whoa,
actually going
to the
to
bottom.
outside. That could hurt Jake Nichols. Here comes Curran side by side for the lead, coming down the backstretch.
Oh, he tried to shoot the gap, but he couldn't get there. Curhan uses the 30 as a pick. Side by side for the lead here at Kansas. Curhan searching for an automatic win to go into the next round of the playoffs. Nichols fires it in on the top side.
Now Justin Isoak's riding in the bottom just in front of them now, so they're still going to be side by side off the corner. It's a matter of where the 67 is going to place his car. Drag race for both of them across the line.
Which lane do you choose? Down into turn 1. Nichols on the top. Curhan chooses the middle of the road.
And so he gets loose up ahead of them on the inside lane. He tries to stay out of it. And Curran, I think, is going to lose just a little bit out. He's going to have to fall back in behind, but he's going to still dive low.
Giving it all he can on the and trying to make enough of a run to get alongside 73 again.
He's
As
there.
they're crossing the stripe, 15 to go. What do you do if you're Curran? Do you send it in now, or do you just play it safe?
You might not get another chance like this. I think you have to fire it down in there. He's better at 3 and 4 than he is at 1 and 2. I think Nichols is going to re-clear him here. I think he had to commit a little bit harder than he has been. You got to get the nose ahead. Once you get ahead of the 73, you can start throwing the blocks and playing defense. This is racing for a championship. Absolutely, it's fair game.
Of course, he doesn't ride the middle lane. I am interested in the fact that he's running all the way down towards the bottom. Maybe try to see if he can get a better run off the corner, but it's kind of working at the moment. He's been maintaining alongside, and I mean, technically, all you really need to do is just get your nose ahead of the car. You don't need to completely pass him to get the win. So I'm thinking Curran's going to try to pick away. That being said, though, I imagine this is wearing out his tires a little bit more than Nichols running that top.
He's going to be clear here, so Nichols is going to clear Curran, but still going to have a run to the inside as he has worked better through 3 and 4 on the bottom and then 1 and 2. Going to have a good enough run on corner exit to stay alongside the 73. Boy, with how well he's running on the bottom, I don't know if he's ever going back to that top.
No, 3 and 4 is a great corner for him.
10,000ths of a second across the line.
Oh, man. But this 1 and 2 is what's going to hurt him. He's going to lose this race down here, I think. He's got to do something different, and he's got to commit harder somewhere because each lap, see, now he's cleared by half a car length. And every lap he was slipping back a little further. So he's lost that opportunity now. He's going to go to the high side here in dirty air on Jake Nichols and try to find something else. 12 laps to go this time through. There's another group of cars up there, 3 of them, that could pose an issue for Nichols, but I don't think you're going to get a better chance than what Curhan had. So he's got to be aggressive here these last 12 laps.
You just really need to try to see if he can build up a run on the 73. That's easier said than done. That was a really good chance he had to pick with the lap car, but now he's really just pushed his tires to their absolute limit. Give it all he can to set up another passing opportunity.
Yeah, still he's trying in the middle and the bottom through 3 and 4, but I don't know if there's going to be enough time for him to navigate a run close enough to what he had just a few laps ago.
That's what I was saying. You know, I'd rather overcommit once and do the slide and at least know I gave it everything I had versus letting it fizzle.
I was half expecting to just chuck it into the corner and slide up in front of the 73. I'm kind of surprised he didn't. I mean, like you said, I think that's kind of what he needed to do.
If his number board was red, I think we could have expected that. But he might be playing it a little bit safer, knowing that having allies at the front of the pack in the points picture might be better going a little bit deeper into the playoffs. This is certainly going to be a good points night for him, but wins solve all sins. And down into turn 1, 10 laps to go. And Nichols still leads Curhan, but look at the run the 24 gets that time through turn 2. Oh, a little bobble.
Yeah, I was going to say the issue, he's just really running out of tire in the second half. Really in turn 2. You know, he had a great run in turn 1. It was a bobble from the 73, but there's not enough left come out of turn 2. And in 3 and 4, they go opposites.
He's making Jake Nichols have to earn this one. Nichols typically dominates these races, and he has dominated this race, don't get me wrong, but not to this degree where someone's been on his bumper gnawing for a majority of the night. He's going to lead over 100 laps in this race, but Michael Curran's been knocking on that door for the majority of this night.
Yeah, Curran has definitely been working him over these last handful of laps. Those first 2 runs, I wasn't really sure if the 73 was showing his true pace, if he was just taking care of his tires. Now you know that he's leaving it all out on the racetrack because there's no point in saving when you know the race is over in 8 laps time. You have to go. Curhan slipping back a little bit. Where is that lap traffic, though? That's the thing I'm concerned about. There they are up the road. It's Tyler Nichols, the 41. That's a teammate to Jake Nichols, but Michael's got a teammate up there as well in the form of the 2 of Greg Mitchell, so that goes both ways.
Yeah, we're curious to see how that plays out as these two continue to fight. Meanwhile, looking at this battle, I didn't know Kyle's been looking at it because they've been flickering like a Christmas tree on the scoring pylon because they've been exchanging positions, and it's also a chance for a caution. They've been battling it really hard. I've been noticing it's been picking up off between these two. They've been fighting really close side-by-side battle for 6th place between Krezek and Cedric Hunter.
They keep this up, Sky only could catch these guys and make it a 3-way battle for the 6th spot, but yeah, these guys have been swapping back and forth. Hunter's going to clear him here, but Krezek, you're kind of close there.
He almost just turned him into the wall.
Yeah, Cedric Hunter is below the cut line and is out of the playoffs after tonight, so he's having a decent run, top 10. It just isn't going to be enough. So is there a Hail Mary there that he just threw that Connor Krezek's not cool with? Down the back straightaway, here comes the 14 again.
They're really close between these two. Krezek trying to throw it back to get that spot back. Unfortunately, I don't think he's got enough car left to make a run.
Coming to 5 laps to go. Does Kurhan have anything left? To the bottom in 3 and 4. That was a good turn for him. And he's fully alongside the 73. Here we go, 5 to go.
I was going to say, this is really going to be the last chance he's really got. He's actually going to just be ahead of him, just out of the tri-oval into turn 1. Going to try to keep it down there as much as he can. He needs to get a good drive off the corner.
Oh, I think he's going to have just that, a little bit of a run here, but here comes Nichols on the outside. Going to be a dead heat going into 3, and Curran is better in 3 and 4.
Yeah, this is his better end of the racetrack. He's going to go to the bottom of the racetrack, fire up the V8 engine with those rear tires out of turn 4. 4 laps to go. Kurhan edges ahead here. Is he going to lead this lap? Not quite. But Nichols is so close.
1,000th of a second at the line. And remember, that's what I alluded to before. You don't have to pass the car. You just have to have your bumper in front. And this might be all Kurhan really needs to do. Nichols starting to lose out. This is the most alongside he's been ahead.
Yeah, half a car length lead there for the 24 going into turn 3. Nichols going to fight back on the outside, send it in a good bit. Curran going to rally on the bottom.
Too deep, I think, for the 73. That's going to give the 24 an advantage on corner exit. Side by side to the stripe. 3 laps to go. That time Kurhan leads the lap. And he is just nibbling away at this, but he's got to get aggressive and get those elbows out here, Finian. It would suck to lose it after this hard of a fight.
Really would suck to lose it. I'm just wondering if he pushed maybe a little bit too hard. He's struggling in 1 and 2, but so is the 73. Neither of them really got a particularly decent run off the corner. As long as the 24 remains alongside, he's got a chance here.
This is as clean of a battle as you'll ever see, fighting for the win in the area.
That 24 is yawing out.
He's fighting on the inside, Curran is, but Nichols fighting back on the outside. The tire is starting to fade away at a reasonable rate. And just 2 laps remaining from Kansas. Both these guys fighting for a win.
3 miles left. Jake is driving in harder and harder into 1 and 2 to try to preserve his advantage. Kurhan got a much better run through the center of the corner. Nichols is going to beat him off. 1.5 laps to go, and it's going to be side by side all the way back to the white flag here, Finian.
Yeah, Curran's really pushing. I think he's giving that Ford Mustang everything he's got. Who did not get a particularly good run off the corner, and that might count. Here we go, white flag in the air, 1 more lap to go.
He needs to drive this off in here so hard, Hunter, if he wants an opportunity to win this race. Into turn 1, Nichols drives in hard.
Curran looking for his first win of the season. Nichols getting a strong run down the backstretch and into turn 3 for the final time. Will we see a Louisiana dive bomb? A big send into turn 3 on the horizon for Curran.
Here he goes, into turn 3. Jake Nichols on defense. 3 and 4, last lap here at Kansas. The 24 throttles up. It's going to be a drag race back to the finish line at Kansas. Side by side, banging doors to the checkers. Who wins it? Kurhan Nichols. Kurhan wins it by a nose. Are you kidding me? Yes.
Wow.
The people's champ. How about that? 9.
Well, he never had to pass the 73. He only came down was that bumper. 9,000ths of a second at the line.
Wow, that was fantastic. And what a clean, fair fight it was. And, you know, the level of emotion that Kurhan shows is not very high. But you know inside he is just stoked about that.
I think we also saw just a sigh of relief because I think that was 140 laps of battling right there.
I mean, how many laps did Curran keep that side by side?
Oh, he never quit. He never gave up, and you could tell he had to change something different. He had to change his approach going through the turns. 3 and 4, he saw his opportunity because he got through the bottom so well, and it gave him a big enough run with 5 to go to have enough of an advantage alongside Jake Nichols. And at the very end, you saw right there, it paid off in the very end. Curran gets his first win of the season, gets more bonus points, and moves on to the next round of the playoffs.
That was well done, and the first win for a Ford this season?
I think so, because there's been only a handful of them at Fazika, so the only remaining stable running the Ford Mustang. Pun intended there.
There's that sly smile. And it just was so much fun to watch. And let's go back and have a look at the last lap of this race. And really, down in 1 and 2, I thought he had gotten beat down here, Finian. He just did not get a very good run through the center 1 and 2, but then off. Keeps just enough overlap here to side draft the 73 back.
Yeah, and just got a really good run. This is really where it came down to it in 3 and 4. I guess Nichols just went up a little bit too high, just tried to cut back down low, overdrove it, maybe a little bit on the exit. Curran got a great run off, a little bit of a touch at the door, some beating banging, and the 24 ahead by a nose.
A little bit of being banging coming to the finish line, but other than that, it was mostly clean throughout the entirety of this race and the entirety of this battle between these two. There you saw just 9 1,000ths of a second separating first and second place across the stripe. Nichols led the most laps, but Curran led the most important one.
That is the 5th closest finish in area history, and all of those finishes were this year. How about that for a season?
Yeah.
Here's a look at your points on the right-hand side of the screen before we talk to our top 3. Finian, as we have a look, Jake Matheson, Michael Curran, both locked into the next round. Matthew Bell is in by 15 points, and the 4 that started their night below the cut line will end the night there as well.
Yeah, and Travis Beckner, I got to say, he's probably really happy, performed really well in the previous round at Bristol. That really helped him carry on into this round. Otherwise, he would have been looking at potentially being out for this, going on to the next round of the playoffs, round of 8. As you look at the finishing order, Michael Curran finishing 9,000ths of a second ahead of Jake Nichols. And look how far back everyone else is. Jake Matheson, 12 seconds on back. Connor Horn, 13 seconds. Seth Knoll rounding up the top 5, 14 seconds back. Okrezik, Hunter, James Skyley, Matthew Bell, and Tyler Nichols rounding up the top 10.
Yeah, Curran and Nichols succeeded with Matheson, so they formed their own colony there. And interesting to note, the season finale is at 1.5 miles in Chicagoland, so it will be interesting to see how that goes. Robertson just missing out on the top 10. Springer and Mitchell finishing inside the lead lap. And so got the first driver finishing a lap down in 14th. Then you got Newbigging, Senesac, Grant, Jeremy Miller, Casey Lakatos both eliminated from the playoffs, and Jacob Bell rounding out the top 20.
And looking down the rest of the order, Travis Beckner got lucky with this one. Didn't have a very good night, got a pit lane speeding violation, and his only saving grace was at the 30. Didn't have a very good night either, and he finished down in 18th, which means the 28 moves on to the second round, but he's going to have to pick up the performance there to have a better shot at it. There's a look at the rest of the order. David Weishart, Slaughter, Ben Pierce, Ray Slate, all out early in this one. Let's talk with our third place finisher, Jake Matheson. He was locked in last week. This week, gave it a good effort, tried a different strategy, didn't pan out for the win, Jake, but you're going to come home third. Good points night, but as again, with the playoffs kind of getting reshuffled next week, it's right back to kind of being in danger of getting booted out. So right back to having to perform next week.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, first off, I want to say, so cool that we got green checkered race. I mean, I love races like that. Yeah, I thought I had a thing for him about halfway through that second run, and then second run, and then I just knocked the wall off for stupid hard, gave myself 50 seconds of damage. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just try 2, and did not work out like Charlotte, unfortunately. But you know what? Yeah, P3, we'll take it. Good race, fun race, and sounded like it was a barn burner up front.
Oh.
So. Glad it was entertaining.
I know you couldn't quite see it from the cockpit, Jake, but it is worth a watch. Enjoy that one, and we'll see you next week. Congratulations on another top 5, and we'll see you there.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Just real quick before we go, want to thank Glusapine, Celsius, Area Shop, Alien Gear, Huckett Films, and Miller Racing. And sorry you can't see me. My lights broke like probably an hour before this race started. So I'm looking at the camera in, can't see it, but I'm looking. So thank you guys.
We'll never forgive you, Jake. We'll see you next week.
Thank
Adios.
you.
And Jake Nichols comes home in second, and in the 5th closest finish in area history. Jake, that one goes the way of the dodo for you. Michael Curhan beat you out in a fair fight, it seemed, all the way up until the end when he snagged you at the line by 9 1,000ths of a second. You led a whole bunch of laps tonight, 104 in total. You didn't need to win to move on. You're going to move on in the playoffs. Is it still big picture racing, or would you rather have won that race?
I mean, obviously we'd love to win, but I love that finish. That race was fun. I knew Curhan was a better long run. I wanted to keep waiting and pit later than him, but I just didn't know how the 2 tires would work with Matheson. We could kind of tell he took 2. He got out of pits pretty quick, and comparing to Seth, because Seth pitted before me, he was just way out there. So I just didn't want to wait too long, just in case that 2 was really good, and give him 8 seconds, 9 seconds of a lead. And so yeah, we could have done things different, but you can't ask for much more. It was a very clean battle. I mean, we were side by side for what felt like 20 laps there. Even going through traffic, we were still battling. Like, I'm a big fan of Michael, and I'm glad we could race it out clean. I'll take a second any day of the week. We were very fortunate in terms of team points. That I don't know what happened to Travis, but I could see when I saw him in the pit still after a lap or 2, I knew this is our race. We get some team points, get a little gap, and have a little less stress going to 3 more races where we are hopefully going to hold off and try our best to win the team title for a 3rd time. But either way, we'll take it. That was a fun race. It probably didn't look too great out there because this track's, a little iffy with that. There's only so much racing room in terms of grip level, but it felt fun. It felt fun for sure. I'm glad we were clean all the way up into the checkered. I tried dooring him a little bit. I didn't really try to door him at first. It was really this coming to the line, like right at the line. I tried to get to him just in case I could get that extra little bit. But either way, great job to Michael. Great race to everybody. I mean, we went clean the whole way. You love to see that after some wrecks at Bristol and carnage at Bristol. So either way, hats off to everybody in the area. Thanks to you guys again for broadcasting. I can't wait to go back and watch this one and watch that great battle with Michael there at the end.
It was a fun one, Jake. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
And Michael Curhan comes home in the 5th closest finish in area history. All 5 of those races have been this season. Michael Curhan, you beat and battled the 73 of Jake Nichols over and over and over again, and just when I thought it was slipping away, you stole it. That was phenomenal racing, man. And you never, I was chastising, saying, oh, he should have dove down there and made it the pass happen and block him for the rest of the race. You didn't have to do that. You just passed him the old-fashioned way by the nose at the checker. Take us through those last couple of laps.
Well, I am a bit older than I think a lot of these guys, so old school probably fits my style. But my goodness, what a battle that was. Yeah, I mean, when we pitted the last time, and Connor Horn came out right in front of me, and he was battling me real hard, and I thought that ended my chances. I really thought Jake was off into the sunset, and I really didn't think I was going to catch back up to him. So I think I drove a bit angry the rest of that last run, and maybe that kind of helped me get back to him. And then those last 10 laps or so were just, my goodness, I don't think I was holding the wheel any tighter than I could have, sweating profusely, and what a great battle it was. So glad we got through it clean. And glad I was able to beat him by a nose, for sure.
Well, there's something to say about momentum at the right time, and this is the first elimination round of the playoffs. How far does this propel you? I mean, mathematically, it only propels you 1 race, but I think emotionally, it's got to help you a ton. How does this kind of pick up your excitement for the next couple of races?
Yeah, I was telling that to my teammates. Man, I just wish this was 1 race later in the schedule so I could be locked into the championship 4. But, this is great momentum. Obviously, a great win, hard-fought win. It definitely gives me momentum for the next round, and hopefully gets me to the championship round.
Michael Curhan wins at Kansas in style. Michael, thanks so much for talking. Congratulations, and what an awesome fight that was to watch. Thanks for putting on a show, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle. Real quick, would like to thank some sponsors: Vizicus Motorsports, NAI DeLeo Bram, Fame Construction, and Flash Picks, and all my teammates at Vizicus Motorsports.
And Michael, you're also the first driver to put a Ford in victory lane this season in the Cup Series, so congratulations on that.
All right, and congrats to Ford for their first win on the season.
All right, Michael, thanks so much. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Kyle.
Wow. Guys, that was a fun race. Let's go back one more time and watch this those last 20 seconds or so, because holy cow, that was a fun race to the end, and Michael Curran, you have to hand it to him, Finian, doing it the fair way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's what you love to see. Some good, hard racing, but everyone respecting each other at the end of the day. It's really the best thing you can ask for, especially after 140 laps, to have a side-by-side finish come down to just about 10,000ths of a second there at the line. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I thought they would get a little more aggressive going into turn 3, but Curran, like you mentioned, clean and green is the way to go, and that's the way he did it with Jake Nichols. And like I mentioned, the season finales at Chicagoland, that had to have played an effect on how he was going to race Jake Nichols, because he could very well race his way into the Championship 4, because not to mention, we got Iowa next week, and then we got a track that Curran's also won in the past in Auto Club.
No, that's going to be good news for Michael Curran. What a great race, and happy to watch a race that ends without carnage and chaos tonight. We've got the Xfinity race to go get more of that action. But big thanks, everybody, for joining us here tonight. And tomorrow it is going to be Area Truck Series action here on Kansas Speedway, as well as Road America for the Full Send Sim Spec Miata Series right before the truck race. We'll see you there tomorrow night. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.